This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Infinity Isle and spawning as the Cyan allies on the left side. We do indeed have YuiYui. He is going to be smurfing as Grandmaster, his opponent as the Orange Soviets on the right side. He is GBHMichael. And he is going to be smurfing just as GBH, going to be going for that dual racks opener versus just the single racks of YuiYui. And so YuiYui probably going to be opening pretty standard, as I don't see any reason for him to not be. And by that I mean a one rack sort of standard. But is he going to be going for a fast airfield? Well, a airfield after two refineries, I should say. I shouldn't say fast airfield, because he's probably not going to be going for a super crazy fast airfield before second refinery. But he may very well be going for a naval yard after that second refinery to go ahead and get himself up some riptides, just to help him deal with the infantry swarm, which has almost gotten out of control for Michael. As you can see, he's continuing to double pump these conscripts. Hasn't quite established his second refinery, but that should be about the... Oh, no, actually, YuiYui did go for the naval yard in between those two refineries, which I definitely don't disagree with. I don't know how much I agree with it, but I definitely don't think it's a bad idea considering how many infantry Michael has actually pumped out to deal with YuiYui. And it could have been a case of Michael knows that allied players just in general like going for that dual racks. It's a solid choice and a solid opener to do. And so as a result, he went for his own dual racks to go ahead and clean up some of those units. But actually, YuiYui is doing a really good job of cleaning up these units. Some nice focus firing there from Yui with his Peacekeepers, able to clean up a significant number of conscripts. That was actually a fair number of conscripts right there. The airfield does go down after the second refinery, and the naval yard has been sold off. So YuiYui going to be getting himself back on track. Most likely is going to be going for a Vindicator or two first. Might actually be going 3 Vindicators and an Apollo. And GBHMichael, on the other hand, is going to be going for that expansion before the Tier 2, but he did get the War Factory down, which means that now that Sickles are out, he's got a little bit more DPS to help him deal with this army, but he doesn't have any Bullfrogs, and of course, Bullfrogs are going to be absolutely very important. Oh, he tried to predict when YuiYui was going to be dropping the bombs, because if you jump with the Sickle right as the Vindicator goes to drop the bombs, you can actually force the Vindicator to miss its target with the bombs, and... Once again, GBHMichael, he's trying to actually micro properly and trying to be fancy, but it's just not quite working out as YuiYui just waits and then bombs another target. So good on YuiYui, going to be making the right choices there and also locking down this entire army with absolute ease. He did lose a Riptide there, and he did lose a couple of Peacekeepers, but for the most part, he locked down that army very effectively. And efficiently, I guess you could say, but effectively would be my word of choice. And a couple of more Sickles could be getting taken out there as, oh, the jump, as you saw right there, that is the proper jump micro that GBHMichael was trying to pull off a little bit earlier in the game. And YuiYui going to be establishing that 3 refinery economy. GBHMichael doing the exact same thing. Roughly similar timing between these two players, but we might be seeing a 4th refinery, or at least a quicker 4th refinery out of GBHMichael in comparison to YuiYui. We do have those 3 Vindicators that I kind of mentioned earlier on, and yeah, that's typically what a lot of players like to do, especially versus Soviets, where you don't have to necessarily worry about the super fast anti-air of Tengus as much, and you also don't have to worry about your enemy going for cryocopters or anything like that. You can go for that 3 Vindicator opener, helps you deal with Bullfrogs quite nicely, as well as any sort of opponent units, and also allows you to harass Ore Collectors quite reasonably with Riptides in support. However, it looks like Sickle is going to be jumping in there, and also Terror Drones, but the Terror Drones are going to be a little bit sad because there's no water expansion for YuiYui. So GBHMichael, he's going to be definitely a little bit bummed about that. As you can see, the bomb's going to be coming in there, but not enough to really make a difference, and YuiYui going for that classic 1 Cryocopter, 1 Vindicator attack combo, which is just so effective at harassment. And GBHMichael, his greatest sin in this game is 0 Bullfrogs pretty much this entire time. As I say that, I pan over and find all of his Bullfrogs. But he's got 0 Bullfrogs in his main. He has not been pumping out Bullfrogs like you see a lot of Soviet players do. However, he did go ahead and get himself some cash back on that Well, he claimed the Riptide as well, but he got himself some cash back on that Harvester, And unfortunately for GBHMichael, his sickle wasn't able to do a whole lot there. It did get cleaned up by the Vindicators. And actually, oh, this Cryocopter Vindicator combo going for the hat trick, going for the 3 ore collectors in one go. And GBHMichael needs to focus down that Vindicator, but unfortunately, he will not be able to. And unfortunately for him, he's got Guardian tanks pounding on his front door, so YuiYui is going to be bringing the pain. He crippled the economy of GBHMichael. GBHMichael, on the other hand, did go ahead and strike back and start doing a little bit of damage of his own, but I don't think it was on the same sort of level that YuiYui did indeed have. However, Terror Drones are going to be making quick work of the rest of these units, but got to be careful because those Cryocopters will lock down those Terror Drones quite nicely, and GBHMichael might be actually forcing YuiYui to kill off his own units, but he didn't actually get the kill there. Very unfortunate for YuiYui. If you focus fire a unit that has a Terror Drone inside of it and you actually kill the unit, you'll kill the Terror Drone as well. It's kind of a way to deal with Terror Drones, but it's not like, I mean, you're still killing your unit, so you're still losing your unit, but the Terror Drone does die. Unfortunately, what happened there for YuiYui was his Guardian tank, the Guardian tank died in between the shots of his Guardian tank, so he just helped kill his own Guardian tank a little bit faster. GBHMichael going to be clearing out that Riptide, not the Riptide, going to be clearing out the Cryocopter quite easily there, and he will actually be losing, it looks like, a Terror Drone as well. However, this Riptide will be getting locked down, and we'll have to see. GBHMichael is actually going to be heading out with another Terror Drone, but it does get claimed by YuiYui, so a nice move there by YuiYui. These two players both hitting each other back and forth in the face, just a slugfest in this game. Not super crazy, at least not yet, but we do actually have the Tier 3 up. It's also on that airfield, which means we could technically see Sentry Bombers, but we are not going to actually see Sentry Bombers, because that would be actually a little bit unusual if we did. The Riptide does get infected once again. A good move there by GBHMichael. YuiYui making the most of it. I don't know if he'd be able to actually kill off the Ore Collector if he would have run over there and started attacking it a little bit sooner after it jumped out of that adaptive armor mode, but he potentially could have taken that out. The Athena Cannon actually going to be getting claimed, and oh no, he doesn't. Nice control there by YuiYui. I was about to just criticize YuiYui for his lack of unit support because the Athena Cannon was so clearly going to be getting infected by that Terror Drone, and then he just totally stomped all over it and was like, no, you be quiet. Terror Drone, you die as well. So a nice move there by YuiYui. And again, if you're having trouble dealing with Terror Drones, sometimes all it takes is just a couple of Peacekeepers to help guard your more expensive units. However, also, you want to pack a little bit of anti-air as well, which is why a lot of players do decide to go for that one Apollo. However, we have nothing to deal with this Twin Blade, which is, of course, going to be good. It's kind of a delayed airfield, but it's still a solid choice after the 4 refineries, and then, of course, the Super Reactor. But these, oh, nice control there by GBHMichael, weaving in and out of these Peacekeepers. He will only be able to get a couple of kills there, but he does lock down. No, he didn't lock down the Javelin Trooper, excuse me. I thought he did for a second there. However, the Twin Blades are going to be coming back in, and they are able to finish off that Athena Cannon. A nice move there by GBHMichael, but he has to make sure that he pulls his Twin Blade so that he doesn't end up dying to those Javelin Troopers, and actually he may need to end up eventually getting himself a crane just for those repair drones. The Twin Blades are going to be coming in here, and they're trying to deal with the Mirage Tank, but they're going to be going for those Javelin Troopers. A little bit of a good choice there. However, he is going to be eliminating the Guardian Tank before the Mirage Cannon, and I don't know if I actually agree with dealing with the Mirage Tank second after the Guardian Tank. However, the barracks did get canceled once again, so it's not that big of a deal for GBHMichael, but at the same time, YuiYui needs to be mixing in something to deal with these Twin Blades. Imagine how much damage one Apollo could have done to these units in support of those Javelin Troopers. That would have been absolutely great, and now the MiG is out, so actually, if YuiYui tries to go for an Apollo at this point, he'll just be a little bit behind in that. Wait a second, does he have... No, I don't think he has... Maybe he does have 4 Vindicators, and I've just missed that 4th Vindicator for pretty much this entire game. However, that Cryocopter may actually be getting taken out here as the Vindicators do come in and they claim one of the Hammer Tanks. However, this Cryocopter will not escape as it gets locked down right there. So a nice move there by GBHMichael, able to clean up that Cryocopter. And neither one of these players has yet to get to that critical unit mass where you kind of just have a difficulty stopping the unit, even if you've got a hard counter to it. But neither one of these players has got it just yet. The Apollo shows up just now. It's a little bit late, but also the magnetic satellites are going to be here. However, YuiYui needs to make sure that he's focus firing, which actually, no, maybe it doesn't even matter that he's focus firing very well because, I mean, there's nothing to oppose him right here. The MiG isn't... Oh! It's nice control there by GBHMichael. However, the MiG does show up at just the right time, and if you're wondering how he's doing that without any units, it doesn't matter where the unit is on the map. If you tell it to get inside of the Twin Blade will land wherever it is. And I'm guessing if you, like, select Actually, I don't know. Did he even have a bear to tell to get inside of that twin blade? Maybe he had a terror drone somewhere on the map or something. But yeah, so they'll immediately land. And it's a good way to just kind of get out of the danger zone immediately with your twin blades. But again, YuiYui has to be so careful. Actually going to be losing 2 Vindicators and actually potentially losing both of these Apollos as well. Although, no, the control is almost... Well, never mind. The control actually isn't good enough from YuiYui to deny that Apollo from going down. However, oh goodness, that Mirage tank almost just went crazy with destroying absolutely everything. I'm not sure exactly what got taken out there, as I think the last couple of twin blades got taken out. Let's see... I think they did. Yeah, I think those twin blades did get taken out, as well as maybe 1 MiG, but 1 Apollo and 2 Vindicators did go down, which is quite a bit of cash there, like 3,800 credits or something like that. No, 3,400, I believe, would be the total count there for... you gotta be careful with that Cryoblast going to be coming down. Actually, we'll be freezing a couple of Javelin Troopers there. Alright, GBHMichael is going to be sounding off that bear just to do a little bit of nothing. However, unfortunately for GBHMichael, he wasn't able to really capitalize on the fact that YuiYui ran his own units into the cryo shot. Our hammer tanks are going to be trying to skirt away and kite away from those Athena cannons, and the crushing is going to be absolutely great there. YuiYui actually running into some of those hammer tanks a little bit there, and he will actually eventually be able to clean up that clean up the hammer tank as the terror drone is actually doing somersaults, jumping out of it, and right there the hammer tanks are able to take down absolutely everything. And now, oh man, the Athena Cannon Hammer Tank, one of the most terrifying units in the game. As you can see, they've got absolutely insane range, and they do pretty darn good DPS as well. However, it looks like the bears are going to be coming in. Is there enough Peacekeepers to deal with them? I think there is. And then the terror drone gets locked down by the Athena Cannon, so some good control by YuiYui means that he's not out of this game yet, and he is going to be still powering on through. And it's also a Mirage tank. Mirage Hammer Tank, rather, is probably the best way to say that. However, these Athena Cannons are now outside of their comfort zone by having these units inside of their comfort zone. With the Hammer Tanks, their guns are ablazing. The fully heroic Hammer Tank now out on the field. The Spy gets immediately sniped down. GBHMichael may be an unstoppable machine at this point, and is streaming more and more Hammer Tanks across the map. He's got his Bullfrogs here just in case, and even this turret may not be able to kill that one single Hammer Tank, which, granted, that one Hammer Tank is indeed a fully heroic Hammer Tank. It does get taken out there, and that Mirage Tank is able to clean up 3 Hammer Tanks by himself, but he will eventually go down 4 Hammer Tanks to his name. Will he actually get 5? And what's that, even a 6th Hammer Tank? I think that was just a Bullfrog. Holy crap, with the hero Hammer Tank, that Mirage Tank clearing up so many Hammer Tanks. GBHMichael, just his entire attacking force got absolutely annihilated in there. And he's like, well, maybe I need to rethink my strategy a little bit there. The Apollo will be able to escape. That is a fully heroic Apollo, but there is, I believe, there's a fully heroic MiG as well. And once again, GBHMichael, it might just be a good idea for him to go for the Crane just for the healing capabilities. He is going to be going for the Battle Lab. So he wants to go for the Tier 3. I don't know that that's necessarily a good idea. It will be a good idea in the long run if we end up seeing artillery wars. But in the short run, I don't know if it's good to invest that extra, like, 2K or whatever it is into getting... Oh, will he actually get anything out of that? Yes, he will actually. Oh, I'm not... Yeah, okay. So that was worth it for GBHMichael, but just barely. Actually, was it? Was that actually worth it? Because he's going to be losing 2 Flak Troopers. Hammer. Same thing. I'm not sure that was actually worth it for GBHMichael. He expended quite a bit of resources there. Which, actually, this Flak Trooper is not actually dying. If he kills the ore refinery, it'll be worth it. But no, I mean, for only 1,000 credits, which, plus lost mining time, I don't know that that was necessarily worth it. YuiYui needs to get that production back up and running. He's currently just sitting on that 2 refinery economy. He starts it right there. And yeah, you have to be careful when harassing allies just because of how cheap their harvesters are. Of course, it's 400 credits less than the other two factions. And so in some cases, you're like, yeah, I took out a harvester, and it's like, well, you traded like 2,000 resources worth of units, and actually this Apollo may finally be going down. No, it does not. The Twin Blade does go down, and that IFV may be getting some lucky shots off on that heavily damaged MiG. No, he does not. He doesn't actually kill anything. He got very close to killing something, but he didn't quite get it. However, the Tier 3, is it done? Yes, it is. However, the Hammer Tanks, they are the dominant force out on the field. And still no Crusher Crane, at least I don't think. No Crusher Crane just yet. Oh, we're actually going to be seeing Kirovs out on this field. the beautiful, beautiful Kirov, one of my favorite units to see and to use, although maybe a little bit impractical and difficult to actually make effective. But it is definitely possible. And also aircraft carriers. This game is not ready to stop, as we've got MiGs going to be trying to intercept some of these drones from the aircraft carrier. But, I mean, they're going to have to go back and refuel, and they did absolutely nothing because all of those drones dropped their bombs. We actually have Natasha out on the field as well. I'm assuming she's going to be trying to deal with that aircraft carrier. This Dolphin is still alive, and Kick is going to be able to take down whatever was building there, but also take down the ore refinery and the harvester, as well as we do indeed have a MiG that gets absolutely shot down out of the ground. However, Natasha is now here, and actually, she's not Tanya. Oh no, she sniped out that aircraft carrier. I didn't even realize that. That aircraft carrier launches the EMP missile, and this could be the big move that GBHMichael is looking for. He locks down some of the Mirage tanks and going to be kiting around that, also going to be locking down that multi-gunner turret. Almost nothing gets locked down in that in the cryo blast as it comes down from the skies there. The cryogeddon going to be trying to stop some of these hammer tanks, but the fully heroic hammer tank is now out on the field. However, it's extremely low on HP. It desperately needs to get out of range, but no, the Javelin Trooper is able to clean up both of those hammer tanks, and this is such a dangerous situation for both of these players, as GBHMichael narrowly is not able to hold on to that aircraft carrier, but also the Kirov is going to be bombing the crap out of this base, destroying pretty much absolutely everything, as I don't think that YuiYui will be able to stop it, but he can sell everything off before GBHMichael actually gets there. Second aircraft carrier is out on the field now, trying to deal with that hammer tank. It does go down due to, I'm not sure if it was the Peacekeeper or actually that IFV, but that fully heroic hammer tank did actually go down, and GBHMichael, who may have been in a commanding position earlier in this game, is desperately trying to just hang on for his absolute life, as he's got a couple of Stingrays out from that naval yard, but he doesn't actually have enough cash to finish off that ore refinery, as his MCV is out on the front lines. He doesn't quite have his 5th refinery up and going just yet. Hammer tank's going to be once again streaming in across the map, and that Kirov will be doing a little bit of splash damage there to the MCV. Very unfortunate there for YuiYui, but YuiYui, will he actually be able to deal with this army? The IFE is desperately trying to save that Athena cannon, but it's not going to be enough, and unfortunately YuiYui doesn't have enough to hold off this hammer tank. But I think if he can possibly draft some sort of base defense, or even get a great EMP and some aircraft carrier drones to go ahead and kill this kill the hammer tank, he may be able to do it, and he does clean up that hammer tank. GBHMichael, does he actually have anything? He's streaming units across the map, which often is a bad idea. As you can see, he's going to be turning that around, but at the same time, he's in such a dire situation that he can't just sit back, because YuiYui is the one with the artillery. YuiYui is the one with the aircraft carrier, and this may actually be the full-on satellite downpour, whatever it is indeed call. It is going to be the Tier 3 stage of that, taking out the power plant, the barracks, and almost taking out that war factory as well. The EMP slamming into those structures, going to be locking down that refinery, but there goes the Dolphin. It gets absolutely annihilated. Natasha once again going to be sent out, which Natasha, fairly expensive for a unit. I'm not sure if it's actually worth it to go ahead and kill the aircraft carrier and then stick Natasha inside of it. Oh, he does. He actually gets that. Oh, he sniped the aircraft carrier as well. So he got the assault destroyer and the aircraft carrier, and he is going to be sending Natasha out onto the water, which I guess that's like only one of 2 choices, because you can garrison it with an engineer, I'm assuming, and then of course Natasha. So that's really your only options, as we do indeed have an aircraft carrier out on the field. But are there any twin blades on the field as well? Yes, there is one twin blade potentially to deal with this Riptide. However, the hydrofoil is heading the wrong way exactly, and GBHMichael needs to desperately deal with these units that are inside of his base, as we do have an IFV, a multi-gunner IFV, which has also got a Peacekeeper inside of it. He needs to make sure that he focuses. Oh, he's going for the Mirage tank, which I guess is going to be a good idea. However, Yui's not paying enough attention to actually jettison out that Peacekeeper. Unfortunately, he's looking somewhere else on the map. He was trying to score an absolute perfect kill with the Cryogeddon, but was it enough? Yes, it actually was enough, because that multi-gunner turret was able to just barely clean up that twin blade, and GBHMichael absolutely just barely hanging on. However, this Riptide needs to go ahead and get to work. Also, the hydrofoil is not going to be stopping the drones. They actually have enough to finish off the armor, the war factory, the armor facility, as I guess it's technically called, but the hydrofoils if they stop the aircraft carrier from firing, I'm curious as to if that actually jams the drones. I would think it would, but I guess it only affects them if you get it off before the drones launch into the air. YuiYui is going to be controlling at least part of the map, and this Athena cannon could be getting taken out there as the aircraft carrier does go down. Again, trading Natasha for an aircraft carrier. I don't know if it's actually worth it, but Ring Around the Rosie is going to be the saving grace of that multi-gunner IFV. He escapes on out of there. The Athena cannon gets bombed to death, unfortunately, for GBHMichael, or for YuiYui. He wasn't paying attention, and he was not able to do anything about this. It is getting close to do or die for these players. The Riptide, once he cleans up this refinery on land, he can start working on the stuff on ground, and this one conscript is still doing his silly little dance. Unfortunately for GBHMichael, he's not going to be contributing too much to the great, glorious Soviet Russia, but unfortunately for Yui, he just lost a refinery as a hammer tank is going to be pressing in the front. The second hammer tank is going to be rallied in across the map. These hydrofoils, one of them is fully heroic. The second one is not heroic at all. He's just kind of the loser of the group, hanging out with his two heroic friends who are nice enough just to let him hang out. But oh, that harvester has been bugged out for I don't know how long, but YuiYui could go ahead and sell off all of these buildings as he's likely not going to be able to save them. But he does have a cryocopter out, and that is actually exceedingly important, as cryocopter is so important. The MiG is going to be able to chase the cryocopter away at least a little bit there. And oh my gosh, YuiYui. That ore refinery actually survived. Holy cow, I cannot believe that. That multi-gunner turret actually got that just one single bomb away. Even, maybe that conscript, if he had been rallied across the map like 2 Molotov cocktails, would have been just about enough to finish that off. Wow, so incredibly close to losing that refinery, being down to just 1 refinery economy for YuiYui, which would possibly be game-ending, but he does still have that 2 refinery economy. Of course, he's done a lot of damage to GBHMichael, which both of these players have done quite a bit of damage to each other. And it's been quite a even back and forth with some clutch play from both sides. The Apollo does come in. GBHMichael is going to be forcing the land of his twin blade, but I mean, again, it's a dangerous situation to be in when you've got a fully heroic Riptide right there waiting. Oh, that Apollo barely not having enough to actually finish off that MiG, and the MiG will be sitting here wasting the rest of its ammo. There goes the War Factory. GBHMichael has been defeated. YuiYui with just too much stuff, and maybe it came down to that refinery barely surviving, maybe it didn't. It is hard to say for sure, but that is going to be doing it for this game. Such a crazy back and forth. What an enjoyable game between these two players. GBHMichael coming out with some pretty nice power play, and YuiYui ultimately just taking the win there, but not very easily, as GBHMichael certainly did give him a run for his money. Overall, GBHMichael a little bit ahead in the economics, but over the course of a 22-minute game where they're relatively even the entire time, as you can see, kind of diverging around the 10-minute mark, somewhere in there, they started to split up a little bit there, but GBHMichael, not really enough money to guarantee. I mean, YuiYui had so many very, very cost-effective units, and just able to do so much damage with just a few Mirage tanks. I think GBHMichael, if his focus firing would have been maybe a little bit better, it could have evened things up and he would have been able to take that game. But overall, a very good match from both players. Once again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and this is Sybert signing out.